Christine Brennon just dropped another bombshell that's got the WNBA scrambling for damage control. This time, she's exposing what really happened between Dijonai.
You probably remember the infamous eye poke, Dijonai Carrington hitting Caitlin Clark in the face during a high-stakes playoff game. But what you almost certainly don't know is what happened after the game, behind closed doors. This story is no longer just about a hard foul. It's about what happens when professional athletes believe they are above scrutiny.
Do you think Dijonai Carrington will actually follow through with legal action? Or is this just more Twitter drama? Let me know your predictions in the comments. So here we are again, folks, watching the WNBA try to put out another fire caused by their own players' behavior. Christine Brennon's book just keeps delivering haymaker after haymaker, and this latest revelation about Dijonai Carrington,
a veteran journalist, just exposed a secret confrontation so brazen it reveals a much deeper problem the WNBA is desperately trying to hide. The league is in full panic mode, and Carrington's response on social media only made things 1,000 times worse, confirming that the on-court aggression might just be the tip of the iceberg.
Harassed by Carrington, finds Boston. Clark gets hit in the face by Carrington and is down.
To understand the severity of this, we have to go back to the moment that started it all. During last season's playoffs, Dijonai Carrington of the Connecticut Sun swiped at Caitlin Clark, catching her directly in the face. The incident immediately blew up online, with fans and analysts furiously debating whether the act was intentional.
Dijonai, did you, when you went and kind of swatted at Caitlin, did you intend to hit her in the eye? And if so, could you just, or if not, either way, could you talk about what happened on that play?
I don't even know why I would intend to hit anybody in the eye. That doesn't even make sense to me. But no, I didn't. I didn't know I hit her, actually. I was trying to make a play on the ball, and I guess I followed through and I hit her. So obviously it's never intentional. That's not even like the type of player that I am. So yeah.
Did you and Marina kind of laugh about it afterwards? It looked like there was later on in the game they caught you guys laughing about it.
No, I just told you I didn't even know I hit her, so I can't laugh about something I didn't know happened.
When asked directly if she meant to do it, Carrington played the victim. She claimed she didn't even know she'd hit Clark and that it was a total accident, a simple follow-through on a play. She adamantly insisted that she isn't that type of player, but according to a bombshell new report, her aggression didn't stop when she walked off the court. In fact, it got much worse.
We got an altercation between Brennon and Dijonai Carrington. It doesn't even have to do with the eye gouge, which we know Dijonai flipped her wig off over at Christine Brennon, but we got a confrontation. Dijonai Carrington went after Christine Brennon because she thought she was talking trash about her Nalissa Smith.
Here's where the story takes a shocking turn. Esteemed journalist Christine Brennon revealed in her new book what happened away from the cameras. The confrontation didn't happen on the court or in a press conference, but in a supposedly professional media environment, a catering area where reporters were gathered.
This is the post, and said, on behalf of the 144, in a week that was dedicated to celebrating, amplifying, whatever, for their hard work, exceptional performances, we're not going to distract from their success. They distracted from the success because, by the way, they ignored all of those players because they wanted to. And to unprofessional media members like Christine Brennan, you're not fooling anyone. The so-called interview in the name of journalism and blatant attempt to bait a professional athlete into participating in narratives false and designed to fuel racist, homophobic, and misogynistic vitriol on social media.
The conflict began because Brennon and other journalists were discussing the performance of various players, including Carrington's friend and teammate Nalissa Smith. This is standard practice for sports reporters, but Carrington, who was nearby, apparently decided to play hall monitor and intervene in a situation that had nothing to do with her.
Because that's real professional in a league, in a professional league, to have a confrontation with a journalist because you got a personal relationship with a player. You see the issue there, folks?
According to Brennon's account, Carrington approached the reporters aggressively, demanding to know why they were talking about Smith and accusing them of calling her a bad teammate. This wasn't just a player defending a friend, it was a clear and stunning attempt to intimidate the media and police their private conversations.
Caitlin Clark is way more important to the WNBA than Tiger Woods was to men's golf, even though he was huge. And to then see this negativity, like why? And what should have been done? I looked seriously at the leadership of the WNBA. And how could you not be prepared for this moment? You've seen it happening in the Big Ten. You've seen it in Iowa. You see these TV ratings.
When Brennon's book exposed this incident, Carrington's reaction was not one of professionalism or remorse. Instead of issuing a carefully worded statement, she took to social media with a response that screamed immaturity, posting laughing emojis and making vague threats about suing for defamation. This is the modern-day equivalent of a temper tantrum, and it's a terrible look for a professional athlete. More importantly, it was a classic non-denial. Notice, she didn't say the confrontation never happened. Her entire argument centered on the characterization of the event, arguing over whether it constituted yelling. This is a subtle but powerful admission that an inappropriate encounter did in fact occur. By focusing on a minor detail instead of denying the core accusation, she inadvertently gave Brennon's story more credibility. Her attempt at damage control only dug the hole deeper. But what about her legal threats? In short, they are almost certainly empty. Her threats of a defamation lawsuit reveal a fundamental misunderstanding of how both journalism and the law work. To win a defamation case, you have to prove that a statement was false, made with malicious intent, and caused measurable harm. Brennon is a respected reporter with a long history of credible work and sources. She isn't just throwing out wild accusations. Her account is based on a real event she personally experienced, likely with other witnesses. Carrington's public social media-based threats are widely seen as posturing, a desperate attempt to scare a journalist into silence. When you connect the dots, a clear and disturbing pattern emerges. First, you have the aggressive on-court foul against the league's biggest star, which many viewers already saw as questionable. This was the public-facing incident that set the stage for everything else. Next, you have the off-court intimidation of journalists for simply doing their jobs. This private act of aggression reveals a sense of entitlement and a belief that she can control the narrative through fear, a far more serious issue than a single foul. And finally, you have the juvenile and unprofessional social media meltdown when called out. This isn't a one-time lapse in judgment. It's a pattern of behavior that suggests a player who believes they are completely above scrutiny and accountability. This all leads to the biggest question of all. Where is the WNBA in all of this? The league's response has been a deafening silence. No statements, no investigations, no fines, and no suspensions. Absolutely nothing. They are hiding, hoping the controversy just fades away. This approach is a massive failure of leadership. Imagine if an NFL or NBA player was credibly accused of cornering and intimidating reporters. The league would issue a statement within hours, and discipline would almost certainly follow. The inaction is glaring. The WNBA's silence sends a dangerous message to every player in the league that bullying the media is acceptable behavior. It makes the entire organization look amateurish and unprofessional, right when it should be capitalizing on its unprecedented popularity. And that is the true cost of all this drama. The WNBA is currently experiencing a massive surge in interest, largely thanks to the Caitlin Clark effect. Ratings are up, attendance is breaking records, and new fans are tuning in every week to see the next chapter. But what do they see? Instead of focusing on the incredible talent and competition, the narrative is constantly hijacked by player feuds, on-court cheap shots, and off-court unprofessionalism. This is a PR nightmare unfolding at the worst possible time. Sponsors and broadcast partners like ESPN don't want to be associated with a league that can't control its players or maintain basic professional standards. This kind of dysfunction raises serious red flags about the organization's culture and long-term stability. This constant drama also creates distractions that hurt on-court results. The Connecticut Sun's front office must be questioning if Carrington's contributions are worth the endless headaches. A team focused on fighting journalists is a team that isn't focused on winning a championship. What we have is a story that started with an eye poke but revealed something much more sinister. It exposed a player's shocking off-court behavior, a deeply immature response to being held accountable, and a professional league that is either unable or unwilling to enforce its own standards. The psychological aspect of this is fascinating. The need to control narratives and intimidate critics often suggests someone who is deeply insecure about their own performance and reputation. Confident, successful athletes typically don't feel the need to police what journalists say about their teammates. So, as the WNBA reaches new heights, its biggest opponent might not be a rival league or external criticism. The real threat is the toxic culture of unprofessionalism that it allows to fester from within. The question is no longer about one player's actions, but whether the league's leadership is capable of handling the spotlight. And right now, their silence speaks volumes. So, as the WNBA reaches new heights, its biggest opponent might not be a rival league or external criticism. The real threat is the toxic culture of unprofessionalism that it allows to fester from within. The question is no longer about one player's actions, but whether the league's leadership is capable of handling the spotlight. And right now, their silence speaks volumes.